Hello and welcome back to my vlog. We're wrapping it up. Chapter 19 of Laugh and Live by Douglas Fairbanks. And the title is, of this chapter, Laugh and Live. Again, I find it expedient to resort to the personal pronoun, and therefore this final chapter is to be devoted to you and me. There are facts you may want to know for sure, and one of them is whether or not I live up to my own prescription. I do. And it's easy. I have kept myself happy and well through keeping my physical department in first-class order. If that had been left to take care of itself, I would surely have fallen by the wayside in other departments. Once we sit down in security, the world seems to hand us things we do not need. Fresh air is my intoxicant, and it keeps me in high spirits. My system doesn't crave artificial stimulation because my daily exercise quickens the blood sufficiently. Then, too, I manage to keep busy. That's the real elixir. Activity. Not always physical activity either, for I must read good books in order to exercise my mind in other channels than just my daily routine, and add to my store of knowledge as well. Then there is my inner self, which must have attention now and then. For this, a little solitude is helpful. We have only to sense the phenomena surrounding us to know that we must have a working faith, something practical to live by, which automatically keeps us on our course. The mystery of life somehow loses its density if we retain our spark of hope. All of my life since childhood, I have held Shakespeare in constant companionship. Aside from the Bible, which is entirely apart from all other books, Shakespeare has no equal. My father, partly from his love for the great poet and partly for the purpose of aiding me to memorize accurately, taught me to recite Shakespeare before I was old enough to know the meaning of the words. I remembered them, however, and in later years I grew to know their full significance. Then I became an ardent follower of the master philosopher, than whom no greater interpreter of human emotions ever lived. In the matter of sage advice, there has never been his equal. In Hamlet, we find the wonderful words of admonition from Polonius in his farewell speech to his son, Laertes. As good today as 400 years ago, and they will continue to be so until the end of time. It matters not how familiar we may be with these lines. It is no waste of time to read them over again once in a while. They seem to fit the practical side of life perfectly. If we have any complaint by reason of their brusqueness, we have only to temper our interpretation according to our own sense of justice. In other words, if we wanted to loan a 10 spot now and then, we would just go ahead and do it. Meanwhile, to save you the trouble of looking up these lines, here they are in Laugh and Live. So I'm going to attempt a little Shakespeare. And these few precepts in thy memory, see thou character. Give thy thoughts no tongue, nor any unproportioned thought his act. Be thou familiar, but by no means vulgar. The friends thou hast and their adoption tried, grapple them to thy soul with hoops of steel. But do not dull thy palm with entertainment of each new-hatched, unfledged comrade. Beware of entrance to a quarrel, but being in, bear't that the opposed may beware of thee. Give every man thine ear, but few thy voice. Take each man's censure, but reserve thy judgment. Costly thy habit as thy purse can buy, but not expressed in fancy, rich, not gaudy. For the apparel oft proclaims the man, and they in France of the best rank and station are of a most select and generous sheaf in that. Neither a borrower nor a lender be, for loan oft loses both itself and friend, and borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry. This above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man. The time has come to close this little book. It has been a great pleasure to write it, and a greater pleasure to hope that it will be received in the same spirit it has been written. These are busy days for all of us. We go in a gallop most of the time, but there comes the quiet hour when we must sit still and take stock. I know this from the letters that come to me asking my opinion on all sorts of subjects. People believe I am happy because my laughing pictures seem to denote this fact. And it is a fact. In the foregoing chapters, I have told why. If, in the telling, I shall have been instrumental in adding to the world's store of happiness, I shall ever thank my lucky stars. Very sincerely, Douglas Fairbanks. And that is the end of Laugh and Live. I hope you got something out of it. I think I did. And it might bear a little repeating. Make it a great day, and bye for now.